ROI Safety Services. Welcome to our weekly podcast. This week's topic, I have chosen to do heat illness. I have not done heat illness yet, and this will be our introduction to heat illness. My focus for each and every week is to provide managers and business owners understanding of what's required by OSHA. Okay, I try to keep it real simple because it's not that complicated. It really isn't. That's probably why it's so easily overlooked by most businesses until OSHA comes knocking on their front door and then asks them, hey, do you have an injury and illness prevention program or do you have a safety program? And you're looking at them, sure, we have one right here. And then they look at it and go, this is not even has your name on it. Whose is this? Your insurance company give it to you or what? Or maybe you have a program and nobody's ever really updated it in a decade or so. We see it daily. Every company I go to typically has a program, but they just don't ever update it or actually implement it. So ROI wants to help you with that, help you understand the reason why you have to implement programs, the purpose of the program. And if you have to do it, you might as well get some benefit out of it. If any of you guys are ISO 9000, most companies I work with that are ISO 9000 just have it because it's customer driven, which of course it makes sense. And we should be doing the things that the customer wants. But this is people driven. This is driven by safety of your people that work for you. I think the motivation should be a thousand times greater than having an ISO program. We need to really change our perspective on how we're looking at safety, not as a burden or an afterthought, but as a priority. If you plan on doing business in the USA, the greatest country in the world, you got to take care of your people. You got to protect your employees. And all too often, I get the call, oh, we've had an injury. Oh, OSHA's here. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And, now we got to rebuild, or not rebuild, we got to build a program. Don't be that person. Don't get caught, being ignorant. There's so much stuff out there on YouTube. OSHA has a really good website, lots of free stuff out there. This is free. We want to help you guys. We want to help business owners and managers and people who just don't know what they don't know. And we're here to help you. So we want to talk today about heat illness. It's starting to get hot. I live in Southern California. It's 75 degrees here right now at 10 a.m. in the morning. So that's actually pretty normal. It's warm. It feels great, but you may be in another part of the country and it's not so warm, or it's I know I think in the Midwest we're having major storms right now. So that's a bummer. Let's get started. Let's get started with heat illness and what is heat illness and why do we need to prepare for. Obviously, when it's hot, people can die, right? They can get heat illness. So we want to talk about that and how it affects you and your workplace. So the average person takes about 5 to 7 days to adjust to hot weather, and I think that's pretty good. That's for an average person. And I'm not even sure why we use that word anymore, because the average person, I believe the last time I looked, is like 5'9", 180 pounds, and relatively healthy. I'm not so sure that applies to today's average person. So I would like to see the updated version of that. This has been years ago since I looked that up. Now, what does that mean? That means you should be able to manage heat within 5 to 7 days. Now, does that mean if you go from Alaska to Phoenix and you start working out on, laying down concrete, that would, in July, that would be devastating. I know this because I didn't lay the concrete part, but I moved from Knoxville, Tennessee to Phoenix in July, and it was devastating. Although Knoxville was pretty warm, but it's more humid than anything. Phoenix was devastatingly hot, and it probably took a couple weeks for me to really I can't even say I really ever got used to the heat. It was tough. I was there for a couple years, and it was amazing to see how quickly the people that live there adjusted to working outdoors, and how they. At the company I was at, we had 300 people. We never had one case of heat illness. They acclimatized very quickly and very naturally. They had already adapted to the environment. So that is what we want to do. In certain parts of our country, like Northern California, I was there last week, and it literally can be freezing below 32 in the evening, and get up to 70 to 80 in the afternoons. And that's pretty brutal. I know up in the high desert, it's like that quite often. So the different ranges of temperatures can be pretty dangerous on the body, especially for those working outdoors in construction, but also in warehouses. I don't think there's very many warehouses, at least any of my customers, that have real air conditioning in the warehouse. I mean, some do, but most of them don't. So we need to be mindful of that. So on the first day of work in a hot environment, the body temperature, pulse rate, and general discomfort will be higher. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. As the day goes on, the body will acclimate to the environment, but it may take, the average person may get acclimated pretty quickly. But what if you're not? What if you're 240 pounds and 5'6"? You're going to have a problem, or you're on medication, or you're having other kinds of pre-existing issues. You're going to have problems. And most of the working environment is not the average person. I could probably safely say that today. So we got to understand that we need to take care of ourselves, but as an employer, we need to make sure that our employees understand if it's hot, we need to take care of them. We need to provide them with water and make sure that they're ready to go and work and put in a day's work, providing tents and various other. We'll get into that a little bit, but some of the illnesses that we need to look out for, and as a business manager, business owner, manager, whatever you are, you got to look out for heat stroke, heat exhaustion, fainting, and heat rash. And you need to train your employees. Your employees aren't going to just show up to work and know what heat cramps are. Some of them might. I'm going to have to say most of them, probably don't even know. They just, hey, I'm here at 6 in the morning or whatever time it is. But we need to train them. We need to prepare them for a hot day, especially if it's outdoors or indoors without AC. Now, how do we train them? We gotta talk to them. Hey, these are the symptoms of heat cramps. If you're experiencing these, let us know. Drink water, drink lots of water. We need to provide them water. So give them a place to rest, drink water, stretch, train them on how to do these sorts of preventative measures. Heat exhaustion is just another step closer to heat stroke. Your body temperature goes up. You probably may have some cramps at this time and you're not feeling well. And you got to look out for these kinds of symptoms and train your people on them. So some of the symptoms of heat exhaustion are severe thirst. Now, one might say, oh, I could just drink a lot of water. But you know what? If you're experiencing severe thirst, you're already dehydrated, and your body's it's not going to intake enough water to get back to normal. It's going to take some time, probably several hours, probably 12 to 24 hours before you're fully hydrated. Hydration is a really tricky process, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It needs to be something that you're constantly doing in terms of hydrating and intaking water and avoiding alcohol and caffeine, which will dehydrate your body very quickly. And so that is why Mondays are typically the most common days people call out sick, is because they wake up Monday and they're severely dehydrated and they don't feel well, or they come to work not hydrated and not feeling well and end up getting sick and having issues on the job, or worse, getting hurt. Number one day of injuries is typically on a Monday. So having these symptoms and understanding what the body's going through is important. Heat exhaustion, how to treat it. move the victim out of the heat into a cool place, give them liquid, and raise the victim's leg 8 to 12 inches, remove any excess clothing, and of course, sponge the body with water as you can, or if it's even possible. And hopefully, you'll start improving. If not, take them to the hospital. Heat stroke is the worst possible outcome because that will end up oftentimes in permanent damage or even death. And so this is the what we want to avoid. We don't ever want to enter into this very dangerous zone of experiencing heat stroke. Okay, we want to avoid this. Now we want to focus on preventative measures, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. And so heat stroke is severe, and oftentimes it's irreversible. And if you start getting into this level, your body temperature goes up, you stop sweating, you could have a stroke, you could have a seizure. It's tough to get back from. And what do you do when that happens? Call 911. Immediately call 911 and try to cool down the body, and hopefully you will be able to get them some help. So fainting is a worker who is not accustomed to hot environments, who stands without moving, and they just fall over. And I've had this happen a few times, and oftentimes the person may have some pre-existing issues, like maybe they came into work and they weren't feeling well. I've had um, I've had several employees who had diabetes just up and pass out on us, and we were like, whoa. So diabetes, of course, it's a pre-existing issue, and we want to make sure that we identify all those with our employees. And there's more on fainting. Again, this is kind of overview training to give you an understanding that you need to implement a program to address fainting, heat illness, heat stroke, all these other various risks when it comes to heat. And so one of the things that I want to focus on with this training is this. Guys, take this away from this particular training, okay, or introduction. You got all those symptoms that we talked about, and those are symptoms, and those are things that we absolutely need to concern ourselves with. But let's get to the root cause. And the root cause is staying hydrated and understanding how to do that. So training not only yourself as a manager or an owner, but your employees need to have training and have an understanding of being hydrated. If you're going to be out in the sun all day or several hours a day, or if you're in the agriculture or ag industry, you need to be hydrated. You need to have certain locations where you have tents. You need to hydrate. You need to check the weather. But let's focus on water. So in the course of a day, your body produces as much as 2 to 3 gallons of sweat, and that is a lot. So how are we going to maintain enough hydration to not have any symptoms? So that is the key, and that is what I want to address in terms of staying hydrated. I typically suggest about a half an ounce per pound. And it for an average male, and again, an average male, what does that mean? 5'10", 5'11", 180 to 250 pounds. You probably want to drink about a gallon of water a day. And that would be 1 gallon of water in addition to whatever else you're drinking, energy drinks, coffee, and various other drinks that you may have throughout the day. You definitely want to have a lot of water. A half an ounce per pound is a good idea, but it may be different. It may be up to an ounce. It just depends on where you're at, and it is a process of learning how your body responds to the environment. But really, drinking a lot of water is key, and a lot of water really is contingent on your body and your physical activity and how much heat and you're being exposed to. So drinking water. I like to use electrolytes. I use a brand called None. I've been using it for over a decade, and I've never had any dehydration issues ever. And I think, just drinking a lot of water, avoiding alcohol, try to keep your coffee down to 2 to 3 cups typically in the morning. Having energy drinks is not a good idea. I know that they will offer some benefit in the morning, maybe in the afternoon, but really you're going to have to pay the piper sooner or later. When the energy starts to wear off, you're going to crash, and that crash is a big one. Those of you who try to avoid that crash by drinking more of them, more and more, I've heard stories of people drinking 4 to 6 a day, and I think that's just insane. So we want to avoid energy drinks. So people with heart issues or those with low sodium diets who work in hot environments, you really need to be cautious. Um, avoid sugar. If you're an athlete, or you run, or you're in any kind of aerobic activity, then these kinds of environments are you're going to acclimatize pretty quickly to them. But those of you who are non-athletes, or that don't have a lot of activity, you really need to be cautious when you're in very hot environments and you're not fully acclimatized yet. So those are things we need to look at. Like right now, today, it's 78 now. It's 10:17. It's probably going to hit 90 today, and it's April 21st. I guarantee most industry right now is not prepared for this hot day. And how do we get prepared? We got to pay attention to the weather report. We have to pay attention to the weather report. When we see a hot day coming, we should start warning our employees, hey, the heat's coming, guys. Here's some water, here's some electrolytes. I like to give out water for sure, lots and lots of water, and non-sugar electrolyte. So I think every sports drink makes a non-sugar electrolyte. I highly recommend that, and that is a good step in the right direction to get everybody at least prepared for this hot day today. And not only you know the heat, there's humidity. We don't have a lot of humidity here where I live in Southern California. When I was in Knoxville, it was horrible. When I was in February, or when I was in Florida in February, it was insane. I can't imagine what it was like there in the middle of the summer. But humidity is a big factor. So we need to understand working outside, humidity, heat. We need to get ready for the heat that's coming. Now, this is something else it's not in the training, but it's something that I have been doing for years, and that is I use a water bottle. This is a 32 ounce water bottle. It's a blender bottle. I like these because I can measure the water. I have a dozen of these at home. I drink about 3 to 4 a day. I'll probably drink more today. I have a run tomorrow, a long run tomorrow, so I'm going to drink lots of these today, so I'm hydrated tomorrow. And I only run in the morning. I never run in the afternoon. It's a bad idea. So getting prepared for any kind of physical activity, you got to hydrate. Now, alcohol severely dehydrates you very, very quickly. It's Friday. Most of us want to go have a few drinks and do whatever you do on the weekend. But the one thing I notice is we stop drinking water on Saturday and Sunday, and we typically drink more alcohol. And then Monday, when we come to work, what happens? I don't feel so good. I'm dehydrated. It's hot outside. I want to go home, or I have some symptoms of heat illness or whatever. My suggestion is this: you continue to drink 120 ounces or more, depending on your activity level, on Saturday and Sunday. It's difficult when you get out of your routine, but drink lots and lots of water. Avoid alcohol. I'm not going to tell you not to drink alcohol, but I'm going to tell you, if you do, pay attention to what you're drinking and be careful, and try to drink, a 1-to-1 ratio per drink. And that might help you. It might not. I don't know, but I do know this: avoiding alcohol and drinking lots of water will definitely help you. And it also helps the type of food that you're eating. Avoid heavy fat food, and try to eat lighter foods that will digest quickly. Vegetables and fruit. Meat does take a lot of energy from our body to digest. Although I'm not saying don't eat meat, but eat it. Eat it in the evenings might be the better way to do it, because your body will definitely need all the energy it can through carbs and various other types of complex carbohydrates. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope this helps. This is not an exhaustive training on heat illness. This is a pretty big topic. You will have state requirements that you will need to meet. I don't know what state you're in. I can't tell you what they are, but in some states, you must have tents up. You must have water available. You must take mandatory breaks. California, of course, in the ag industry is very strict on this, which they should be. Arizona, which they should be. Louisiana, you all have requirements. I do not know them all. Get on your state website and find out about them. I can help you with that. Call me and we can work together and we can put a program together for you. There should be a written program. California requires a written program for this. And it's a pretty simple program. It basically just says, hey, identify a person who's responsible for the program and make sure that they check the weather frequently. And if there's going to be a day where it's over 75 or whatever it might be, make sure you have water and ice, take breaks. And there really is temperatures that once you hit that temperature, you got to take a break, or some companies will even shut down for the day, depending on your policies. But there needs to be an evaluation, business owner and manager. This is where you need to be responsible and take a look at your business and what you're doing and how are you protecting your employee. The name of the game is protecting your people, okay? Just like, we want to take care of our customers and make sure that they get everything they need so that they can pay us, right? We need to make sure that we take care of our employees so that they can continue to work and be healthy and want to come back to work the next day. All right. Now, I don't know about what you're experiencing at your working environment, but most of my customers have a shortage of employees. It's still happening now. Every customer I have is hiring, and we got to keep our people. We got to make sure they're safe, and if employees know that you care about them, that goes a long way. So take care of your employees. We need to see more servant leadership in our industries. So be a leader, take care of your people, be responsible, have a blessed weekend. It's Friday, at 10 a.m. I do this every Friday. I don't know if I'm going to do it next Friday. I probably will. I'll be in Sedona on vacation, but I still may do this. I hope to get, we'll see what happens. I'm just trying to keep it, loose. I don't really want to get super detailed into chapter and verse like some of you safety geeks out there. That ain't happening here. I'm here to just help the regular business owner, manager, just get an idea of what they need to do and help them. Okay? We're not the safety police. Ain't nobody at ROI Safety Services is the safety police. We are not here to do that. We are here to help you. We like people. We want to help people. Okay? People first, safety first, zero injuries. We're here to help. Again, have a wonderful weekend. Call me anytime, text me, email me. I'm here to help you guys, okay? Thank you very much. Again, like us on YouTube. We don't have a lot of activity yet. I haven't really done a lot of promoting, but maybe you guys can do that for us. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.